Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oops.
Do you want me to? Are you ready to continue with the film?
Yes, please, Your Honor. Whereupon, a portion of a DVD, People's Exhibit 340, Disc 2, was played for the court and jury. Star. The person who's doing the interview says, Davellin, Star, when you guys first went to the ranch, I'm sure you were pretty down. When you first went to Neverland Ranch, were you pretty down?
The first ever time?
Yes?
Yes.
And you were down because your brother was ill, right?
Yes.
Keep going. Whereupon, a portion of a DVD, People's Exhibit 340, Disc 2, was played for the court and jury. Now, Star, when you made that statement, were you telling the truth?
What was the statement?
The statement was, the first time before our brother ever went to the ranch, he was always sad, he was always crying, he was always just down all the time. When he went to the ranch, he was always happy. He was always playful, he was happy again, he was cheerful, and it also gave him something to look forward when we left. Was that a true statement?
It was kind of true, because my brother was sad and, what's the other word I used? Well, he was sad and down, because he was going through a life-threatening disease.
And he was happy at the ranch, correct?
Yes. In the beginning, yes.
Okay. Whereupon, a portion of a DVD, People's Exhibit 340, Disc 2, was played for the court and jury. At this point, Star, you're trying to speak out, correct?
No, I was just saying I was sleepy.
Well, he said he can hear you, Star, right?
Yeah, I was complaining.
Was it your understanding that this film was supposed to be on a television show?
No.
Did you ever learn that this film was supposed to appear on Fox television?
No.
Okay, we can go forward. Whereupon, a portion of a DVD, People's Exhibit 340, Disc 2, was played for the court and jury. Your Honor, there's a final piece of evidence we'd like to use that the prosecution wants to look at. It's on DVD. It's a card on DVD, and I think, is it true you have that?
No. You came up at the break and asked me for something, and it's locked up in evidence at the sheriff's department.
Your Honor, we have it. I said we'd show it to him. And we're going to try to use the electronic version, and then they'll bring the actual piece of evidence over later, and we can substitute that. So with the court's indulgence, we need just a minute for them to huddle over here, or somebody to take a look at it, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Do you have it?
I have it right here. It's on the screen.
Oh, it's on your computer.
Yeah, off-the-record discussion held at counsel table.
Judge, I have no objection to them using that in lieu of the original for right now, and we'll get the original over here, if not today, tomorrow.
All right, we will give it a number now. So it will be 5004. And we'll mark the original when you bring it over.
Your Honor, I believe there are 3 cards, if I'm not mistaken. But we can mark them as a group as 5004. We don't have to give them separate numbers, unless the court wants to.
Okay, well, let's mark them, 3 cards, as a group, numbered 5004.
May I walk around here? I have to hook the thing up to the screen. Is that all right, Your Honor?
Yes.
It will be input 1.
Input 1. Okay.
And Mr. Mesereau, can you hit the PC button?
These are agreed they go in evidence? No objection to them going into evidence?
No, none whatsoever, Your Honor.
All right, they're admitted. 5004 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Star.
You need to hit black screen.
You have sent greeting cards from time to time?
Your microphone's not on.
Excuse me, you're right?
They're having trouble hearing you.
You're right. You have sent greeting cards from time to time to people whom you asked for money, true?
Object. Assumes facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
The language that you hear on that rebuttal tape is language similar to language you have used in greeting cards to people you were seeking money from, right?
We were never seeking.
Object. Your Honor, I object. Assumes facts not in evidence.
I'll start again. Do you know Louise Palanker?
Yes.
How long have you known Louise Palanker?
Since the comedy camp.
Are you still in touch with her?
Yes.
When did you last talk to Louise Palanker?
I think my sister talked to her. I haven't talked to her since, I don't know exactly. But it was within this year. Well.
I'm sorry?
It was within the last year.
Okay. You sent Louise Palanker greeting cards and you called her Mommy, correct?
I don't remember doing that.
Would it refresh your recollection if you see a greeting card that you signed?
Sure.
I take it Your Honor has it on the one where.
I have it on 1. Do you want me to try it on 4?
May as well.
That's 4. Off the record discussion held at council table.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Since he's only asking him to refresh his recollection, just take the computer and show it to him.
We've moved it into evidence, Your Honor. I'd like the jury to see it, if we can.
It is in evidence.
It will just be a minute.
Do you have a technician coming?
We do.
There's someone coming to help. I remember when an attorney just had to be able to come into court and talk. Laughter. Now they're froze in if the machine doesn't work.
I understand there's somebody coming down in 1 second.
Yes, somebody's been.
I can ask a few questions in the meantime, if you'd like, Your Honor.
That would be good.
Do you know whether or not Louise Palanker gave $20,000 to your family?
I know that she gave it to my dad, yeah.
Do you know what the purpose for giving that money was?
To fix my brother's bedroom at my grandma's house, so he can live in it.
Would you like to wait just a moment, so?
Sure.
It would be better to let the technician. Off the record discussion held at council table.
Oh, how about that? Your Honor, I just learned something new.
So everything is ready.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
You asked Louise Palanker for a computer, didn't you?
No, that's not my writing.
We'll get to that. There's some other pages?
Okay.
Did you ever ask Louise Palanker for a computer?
Never.
Are you aware of anyone else in your family asking Louise for a computer?
No.
Ever get a computer from Louise, to your knowledge?
No.
Okay, now, I want to show you this card. It says, from your boys and girl, Louise Mommy. Do you see that?
Yes.
It says, you're smiling when I'm happy and you hug me when I'm hurt. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you call Louise Mommy?
Looks like my sister's writing.
Let me ask you if you called her Mommy ever?
No.
Did you ever hear your sister or Gavin call her Mommy?
No.
Do you know why a card was sent to her that said, Mommy?
I don't know.
Okay, let's go to some other pages, if we can, Bob. Thanks. Now, who is in that picture?
Me, my brother, my sister.
Okay, do you know approximately when those photos were taken?
When my sister was in the Los Angeles Explorers.
Okay, do you know about what year that is?
No.
Okay, let's look at this, then. Do you see the message at the bottom?
Okay.
It says, Dear Louise, I think of you every second of my sick, and pray for every night, every morning. I love you. I wish I can spend time with you. Love, Star, right?
I misspelled life.
That's your writing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, the question I have is, you see a message from Gavin and a message from Davellin, right?
Okay.
And why is everybody calling her Mommy, do you know?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that question.
Excuse me, I'll rephrase it. Do you have any idea why the card is addressed to Mommy?
Mommy's not.
Pardon me?
Mommy's not in my letter.
I'm asking about the card?
I don't know what's written on there. Doesn't look like my writing.
Did you see the card before you wrote on it, if you remember?
No.
But did you refer to her as Mommy ever?
No.
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Okay, let's go to the next card. Okay, now, this is another card.
Okay.
It says, Dear Louise, once I see you, my day is wonderful. Louise, I miss you. I love you. Every day I want to be with you. Thank you. I love you. Love. Star. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you often send cards to Louise?
Not really.
Do you remember how many you might have sent?
No.
Okay, keep going. Do you see that card, Star?
Yes.
It says, Our darling Louise, Wheezy. Do you see that?
Yes.
And that says, We dearly love you and care about you. We love you to the moon and back. Faithfully, devotedly, your friends, your family, Davellin, David, Gavin, Janet, Star. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you use to refer to Louise as being in your family?
Not really. Just my brother probably did, because she was with my brother during the whole cancer.
The question I want to ask you is this. Did you typically call people, family, that your mother was seeking funds from?
My mom was never seeking funds from.
She never did that with anybody?
No.
Not Chris Tucker?
No.
Not Louise?
No. You can even ask Louise. My dad was the one trying to seek funds from her.
And your mother was never involved in that at all?
No.
How about with Jay Leno?
I've never met Jay Leno in my life.
Are you aware of your mother ever seeking funds from him?
No.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Redirect? Are you through with this exhibit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you need it?
No, I don't need it. Your Honor, I'm going to need a moment to get a couple of photographs from the clerk, if you don't mind.
All right.
Your Honor, while that's occurring, did the court want to?
You have to use the microphone.
I'm sorry. Did the court want to have us lodge this DVD with the court until the physical exhibits are here?
That would be a good idea.
All right.
Just temporarily. Temporary Exhibit 5004.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with your permission, I'd like to show the exhibits, the witness some exhibits and put them up on the board. And we're going to start with people's number 50 in evidence. Star. Let me begin by asking you some questions about Mr. Jackson's bedroom. How many floors are there to his bedroom?
1.
And how many floors are there in the suite to his bedroom?
In the suite?
Well, let me ask. Let me show you a photograph?
Okay.
Let me do it this way. I don't want to get sidetracked here. You told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury during your testimony that on the occasion that you saw Mr. Jackson lying on the bed with your brother, that you had to walk up some stairs?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And so is the bedroom where you saw those activities occur on the same level as the area below?
No.
I'm going to have to do it one at a time while I'm down here. Now, the exhibit that you have that's in front of you, that's People's 50, do you see that?
Yes.
Now, what door is that? Where does that lead to?
That's leading to a hallway that leads to the second double door into his bedroom.
And in relation to this particular door, is this the door you go through that sets off the sensors?
Yes.
Whereabout, when you go through those doors, do you actually hear it?
A little after you pass the duck. The duck.
And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what is the sound that you hear when it goes off?
It's hard to explain, but it goes like, doom doom doom. Something like that.
How long do you think it is?
Couple seconds.
Is that the only sound that goes off?
Yes.
The exhibit number on that photograph, I believe, is 53, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you see in that photograph what you were referring to in answering Mr. Mesereau's questions as the sensors?
What do you mean?
Well, he asked you about some sensors. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
All right. And what were you referring to? Do you see anything in that photograph that you were referring to in answering his questions?
Yes.
All right. What is it?
It's the silver one to the right of the picture. It's under the picture of a little girl.
Now, just wait a second. All right. Now, show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you were referring to just a moment ago.
Okay.
So there's one on each side?
Yes.
Now, is there a separate keypad entry that you have to touch to get in?
Yes.
Now, when you were answering Mr. Mesereau's questions, You indicated that there was a double door you had to go through to get into Mr. Jackson's bedroom?
Yes.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you see the double doors that you were referring to in your testimony to Mr. Mesereau?
Yes.
Would you point them out to the jury in this photograph?
Okay.
So you're indicating in the middle of the photograph, one on the right and one on the left?
Yes.
I've now handed you People's 54. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Now, what is that?
That's the view inside Michael's bedroom.
Now, do you see in that photograph the double doors you were referring to in answering Mr. Mesereau's questions?
Yes.
Okay. Would you point it out to the jury?
Okay.
You're indicating to the right and to the left of the photograph?
Yes.
Now, directly ahead in that photograph, do you see that?
Yes.
What is that? What part of the room is that?
That's the downstairs.
The downstairs to what?
Michael's bedroom. That's the big area.
That's the what?
That's the big area.
Now, earlier in your testimony the other day, when we were going through, and I'm not going to walk through all of them, but we were going through the photographs, you identified an area as a bathroom that had a tub in it. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What floor is that on?
The first floor.
And the area with the piano?
It's on the first floor also.
Now, in that photograph, if one were to enter those doors and want to go to Mr. Jackson's bedroom, okay, which way would they turn after they come through those doors?
You would turn to the right.
And then after you turn to the right, where would you have to go?
You would have to open up a door and turn to your left and walk up the stairs.
And do you know approximately how much distance there is between the time you enter the door and turn right, before you get to the door?
Like 17 stairs.
No, that's not what I asked you. What I asked you was, when you turn to the right through this door, before you get to the door that leads to the stairway, approximately how far is that?
8 feet.
Your Honor, could you black the screen just for a moment? Off-the-record discussion held at counsel table. Now, do you want to put that back up? Thank you, Your Honor. That's fine. Put the other one back up. I have one last question on the original one. There we go. Alright, Star. You indicated to Mr. Mesereau that there was a door that had several locks on it from the inside. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And can you tell us which door or doors it is that has those locks? So you're referring, and the exhibit number on that, Star?
Yes.
Hate to interrupt you, but what's the exhibit number on that? 13A54. 54. So you were indicating the two doors to the entrance to the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are those doors visible in this photograph or on the other side of the doors?
The other side of the doors.
And what kind of locks are they?
There's two at the top, well, one on each door at the top. And you have to push it till it locks. And on the bottom, it's like the same thing, but you're pushing down.
So you counted each one of those things as a lock?
Yes.
Okay. And what else was locked? Do you consider a lock?
The keypad. It will lock the, I don't know what it's called, but it's that, indicating. Not the doorknob. It was like, well, it will just unlock it.
And where was the keypad that unlocked it? Back over there that you showed us on that other photograph?
Yes. And there's a lock that you just twist, and there's one more lock. Wait, I think there's just 6, then.
Okay. In any case, those were what you considered the locks that you were talking about with the jury?
Yes.
Alright. Now, let's go to the
6.
Alright. We have a photograph marked as People's 72. It's in evidence. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that the one you have in front of you right now?
Yes.
Now, with regard to that particular photograph, there is a door depicted in that particular photograph. Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, with regard to your testimony and the answering of the questions of Mr. Mesereau yesterday and today, do you see the door that you were referring to that leads to Mr. Jackson's bedroom?
Yes.
Alright. Can you point that out to the jury?
Yes.
Alright. And that's the door that is indicated about 2/3 of the way over on the left-hand side of the photograph?
Yes.
Right by the stairwell?
Yes.
Now, is that door different from the one you showed us before that you come into the entryway?
No.
Pardon?
Well, yes, it's different. It's a single door.
And when you referred to a door the first time that you went up the stairs that you thought was locked until you pushed it the second time, is that the door you're referring to?
Yes.
Now, Star, you can put that down if you'd like. And we can turn the lights on, if you'd like, Your Honor. Just a couple of other things that have to do with the residence. You indicated in your testimony that you needed a combination for pads to get into certain locations in Mr. Jackson's, at Neverland Ranch?
Yes.
Now, you've described some of the locations that you needed the pad to get into certain locations. Did you need a combination to get into the arcade?
No.
Did you need a combination to get into Mr. Jackson's office?
Yes.
Did the combination that you had work?
Yes.
Did you need a combination to get into the theater?
I think it was locked with a key.
With a key?
Yeah.
Did you know where they kept the key?
No, I think security had the key. I don't know who exactly had the key.
With regard to the kitchen, did you need a pad to get into the kitchen?
No, it was open.
And when you told us about entering the front door, but there is a rear entrance to Mr. Jackson's residence, correct?
Yes.
Did you need to have a combination to get in there?
Yes.
And the same combination you've described in answering both my questions and Mr. Mesereau's, that combination worked?
Yes.
Now, speaking of the kitchen, Mr. Mesereau asked you about being in the kitchen, and you indicated that you had been out there looking around for some utensils to cook?
Yes.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Will you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury why you were in the kitchen cooking?
Because sometimes the cooks didn't cook it right, so I cooked some stuff.
Do you like to cook?
Yes.
Is that one of your hobbies?
One of my hobbies, yes.
One other thing, when you answered Mr. Mesereau's question and you said that Gavin went to Neverland Valley Ranch when he was seriously ill. Do you recall that?
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
He was seriously ill and he went to Neverland Ranch.
What did you mean by seriously ill?
He had cancer.
Is that what you meant?
Yes.
How did you find out that there was a telescope up on the hill?
Me, my brother and, I don't remember who, but me, my brother and someone else were riding up there with our ATVs and we saw a trail, and so we went up there, and we found like a glass table and, it was like a covered area. And there was a telescope that was mounted right there.
Alright, I'm going to ask you some questions now about some things that Mr. Mesereau asked you about. Okay?
Okay.
Now, do you remember Mr. Mesereau asking you about the incident that you described where Mr. Jackson got on the bed and scooted over towards your brother, and I think Mr. Mesereau said put his arm around him and was next to him?
Yes.
Do you recall Mr. Mesereau asking you that?
Yes.
Now, did you tell the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department about that incident?
Yes.
And did you also tell the Sheriff's Department that there were two other incidents that you saw Mr. Jackson on the bed with your brother?
Yes.
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
The answer was in.
So you told them there were actually 3 incidents that occurred?
Yes.
And you told them that in the initial interview, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And you also testified to that at the grand jury, did you not?
Yes.
You testified to all 3 incidents?
Yes.
So there was 2 you saw on the stairs, and 1 you saw when you were in the bedroom?
Yes.
Now, with regard to the time that you saw Mr. Jackson on the bed with your brother, okay?
Okay.
And that you've described to the jury with Mr. Jackson's hand inside your brother's private parts, okay?
Okay.
Now, did you have any difficulty seeing what was going on?
No.
Could you see their eyes?
A little bit, yes.
Could you tell whether or not in the first incident, whether or not your brother's eyes were opened or closed?
His head was facing down, and I saw his eyes. They were closed.
And with regard to Mr. Jackson in the first incident, did you see whether his eyes were open or closed?
His eyes were closed.
And in the second, in the first incident, I think you indicated that let me just do it the other way. When you said that you had seen alcohol in Mr. Jackson's room before.
Yes.
On the first incident when you went up there and you saw Mr. Jackson on the bed next to your brother and your brother curled up, did you see alcohol on that occasion?
Yes.
And where was it in the room?
It was the nightstand next to the bed.
On which side?
My brother's side.
So you had no difficulty seeing the alcohol on the nightstand?
No.
Now, you were asked by Mr. Mesereau to look at a section of the transcript during your grand jury testimony about whether you saw Mr. Jackson fiddling with your brother's shirts or otherwise touching him. Do you recall him asking you that?
Yes.
And then you were asked a question by Mr. Mesereau, where you said, there was a question, he would be touching him a lot? Yeah. And then you said, not his genitals. Not his penis. I never saw that, okay?
Yes.
What were you referring to in connection with that statement in relationship to the information you had just talked about?
I was talking about at the table.
At the what?
At the table.
Is that where that incident occurred?
Yes.
So you didn't see him touch your brother's privates or genitals at the table?
Yes.
Star. Is there any doubt in your mind as to what you saw with regard to your brother and the defendant while they were laying on the bed on the 2 occasions you testified to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
No.
Was it the truth?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Recross?
Very briefly, Your Honor. If I may take a second.
Yes.
Have you told the truth throughout your testimony in this courtroom?
Yes.
Have you told any lie at all?
No.
Did you tell the truth to the grand jury?
Yes.
Ever tell any lie to the grand jury?
No.
Did you tell the truth to the police every time you interviewed with them?
Yes.
Ever tell them any lies?
No. No.
Have you ever lied before?
Yes.
Counsel, one of the jurors needs to use the restroom. So I think what we should do is break early.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're on a break.